So I decided to make some Vans, and here's how it went. First started off, I got some Vans. Cool. Hardware, they're gonna need screws, washers. I got some Vont.com brackets, aluminum that I'm gonna actually put inside. I got from Lowe's. I traced the insoles from the shoes onto some cardboard, cut that out, and that is what I used to actually make the outlines. Trace those bad boys onto aluminum, and that's going to be my insole to hold the skates. Got out the jigsaw, clamped it down, and went to town. The jigsaw was not working as planned, and so we had to call an audible, and I switched up to the angle grinder. Angle grinder got it done. It's a little bit interesting, just cutting through the metal. Didn't go exactly as I wanted it, but it definitely got the job done a lot easier than the jigsaw. Kind of disappointed in Milwaukee and their jigsaw, to be honest, but their angle grinder is legit. So I used the angle grinder to make my cuts. I also used it to refine some of the edges. After I got done with all the cuts, I went over the sides and kind of smoothed it out. If I had any fine tuning to do to make sure it fit the shoe right, I used the angle grinder to kind of take off those last millimeters to make sure the shoe fit. There's me with the mask and goggles. Make sure you have safety protection. I didn't have my gloves on for the first go round, but then when it came time to fit them in there, I realized this is super sharp and got me some gloves. So here was the first attempt trying the shoe out, and it actually fit. There it is, the aluminum plate that will hold my skates on. So with that being said, I went right to number 2. A little bit easier of a job. Kind of cut some of the big pieces out, cut off large corners, and then refine the edges as need be once I got to that point. So a little bit easier this time, just to go around, just a direct approach with the angle grinder. Sanding it down, getting all the edges as precisely as I possibly can. I wear a size 13, so as crazy as it may sound, the bigger these aluminum plates are, the harder it is to actually get inside the shoe. And I don't want to cut off too much of the metal because I still need to have enough to mount 6 screws through the bottom of the shoe into the aluminum plate. So I was trying to be conservative, yet at the same time get it right. Once I got them all cut, I did sand them down, sand down the edges, give it a nice round, smooth edge. 1, so I didn't cut my hand or my foot or anything else, and 2, so it didn't cut the shoe. When I put them in, they actually slide in a lot better once I did that and sanded it down. So both of them in, both aluminum insoles, and then put the actual soles that came with the shoe back inside there. And I had to try them on, make sure that they fit. Oh yeah. So from there, I went to the measurement of the bottom of the shoe. And this was basically just finding the widest part of the shoe and dividing that in half and making that the middle. I actually traced the bottom of the skate. I put the skate bracket on there and was able to find the middle of that. So it's not the middle of the shoe per se, but it is the middle of my foot, if that makes any sense. It seems like it might be off center, but it actually is right down the middle as it pertains to actually skating. So I took the insoles that I traced and made my cardboard, and I actually just traced this little outline here and then made that my template so I can know where to put the holes. The holes on the actual bracket on my trucks on the bright were not big enough for a pin to go through, so I decided to go with this little cardboard insert and then trace that and then put that on there, marked it for the holes, clamped everything together, and started drilling. So inside my shoe is the aluminum. I'm drilling from the outside in, hoping that I could leave marks onto the aluminum sole so I could know how to drill the holes for the sole. And went around the shoe, all 6 holes drilled. It's kind of interesting dealing with the tread, but it worked. So from there, clamped that bad boy to a spare piece of wood. A little scrap of wood came in handy as I was able to get those 6 holes drilled. From there, went ahead and did a countersink so that the screws would lay flush inside the aluminum. Put the aluminum in and tested it out. Let's see if these screws can actually go through. And there we go. The front screws are in, back screws are in. Cleaned out a little bit of the tread, make it a little easier. And this is me doing the other shoe. So shoe number 1 worked out perfect. Shoe number 2, same thing. 6 holes through the aluminum. Those marks worked out perfect going through the bottom of the shoe. Sanded it down to get some of those rough edges off from the drill. Went ahead and did a countersink so that the screws lay flush, and then mounted all the hardware. This part was really interesting because the screws were extra long. I don't know why I got them so long. They didn't really need to be that long, but made it a little challenging, but we worked around it. So I couldn't really actually use my drill. I had to use a wrench to get that on there and a screwdriver. So real simple, screw that on, screw that on. These are the ones in the ball of my foot. The ones near the toe, I had to get even more creative. I actually ended up using a vice grip and a little Phillips bit screwdriver. Sticked it all the way in there, held it tight with the shoe this inside, and screwed it down. Now for my fancy dancy red and white wheels. Put the reds bearings in there, mounted them up. Oh wait, go back. We got to cut the screws down. The screws are too long. The wheels cannot go on. So angle grinder to the rescue. Bring that bad boy in, slice those guys off. There we go. Now everybody fits like they should. All the wheels on, tight, ready to rock. Lace the bad boys up, and voila. We got Vans turned into skates. These are the most comfortable skates I have ever put on my feet. Check them out. Off we go. This is the first test ride of the skates. Yeah. Testing out the toe stops. Testing them out for turns, testing them out for speed. Stayed on perfectly. Forward, backward. We in there. Red, white, and blue Vans turned into skates. And it worked out perfect.